So the other night I woke up in the middle of the night and I went outside and walked over to the seating area by the pool and I was having a cigarette. And yes, I haven't quit smoking yet. I'm working on it. I think it's my last big hurdle. Anyway, when I was out there, on the table next to me was this solar light that was hanging. It was hanging on the wall, and I guess it fell down and someone had set it on the table, and it was not working. So I'm sitting there and, I got my headphones on. I'm listening to some music. And all of a sudden, the light on this lamp came on. And I was excited because my first thought was, my energy turned that light on. That's what I believe. And I'm going to tell you why I believe that. Hi, my name is Michelle. Welcome to our channel, The Freedom Habit. And today I'm talking about some of the things that you're probably going to go through when you start your spiritual journey, your spiritual awakening, working on your mindset, your limited beliefs, your I am statements, getting rid of those negative programs, and putting some positive ones in there. So for myself, like I said in some of our earlier videos, we just picked up, moved back to Thailand about a year and a half ago, and we needed it. We needed a new environment. A lot of things going in our life that was very chaotic. Uh, it was more of an extension of our life, people, and some of the things that were going on, and we felt that we needed to distance ourselves, and we love Thailand, so we came back here because we needed to find some peace. So once we got here, we started to, we watch a lot of videos like on YouTube, on TikTok. TikTok has a great community of people who are, waking up spiritually and talking about some of the things that they've gone through. So I wanted to share what what I've gone through personally to kind of let you know some of the things that you might experience. As we begin our journey and we start to work on our mindset, and we'll start to notice things that really don't belong there, negative things that are holding us back. And as we begin to work on them, you're going to find that um, it can get a little bit lonely. It gets lonely. You'll kind of go into yourself. You might seem kind of depressed. But the thing is if you take it for exactly what it is, if you realize that it's your body and your mind purging all this old trauma, negative energy that's been stored in your body, then it won't be bad. I mean, it wasn't bad for me. There was a lot of times, I knew to just kind of take care of myself, and I started to do things that were really for me, something I haven't done in a very, very long time. So we came over here, and I'm reading books, and I'm taking a look at my limited beliefs, and I'm journaling, I'm writing down things. I started to notice things that trigger me, and that's the thing, like Boyd and I are together pretty much 24/7, we're always together, and we're both working on clearing our mindset, getting rid of this, negative energy, this negative programming, any trauma. And I found that source, well, we use each other to trigger each other. And we do, there's times where we'll trigger each other. But the thing is we'll recognize it. We'll recognize that we're being triggered, and then we start to figure out why. And that's really helped me. I have found some behaviors that I didn't even recognize that I've had for years. So yeah, as I'm going through this journey, and there'd be days where I would be very tired, and I might just lay in bed, maybe watch TV, and then there's other days where I'd just be full of energy, and I'm thinking, wow, this is it, I'm done, this is great. And then a couple of days would go by, and I'd be triggered, and something would happen, and I would start working on myself again, trying to figure out what it was, change that limiting belief, renew program in my mind. And so it's been over 16 months, and it's been pretty intensive. But I got to tell you, last week for days, I was feeling something, and I didn't even, that's the thing. Like I don't even know. Like I'm not angry. I'm not mad. I don't know what emotions are I'm feeling, but I know that I'm feeling off. Like in the time that I've taken to get to know myself, get to know my triggers, uh, see when I'm not feeling myself. The longer I've done this throughout the year, I'll tell you, it's made such a difference in my life. I'm so much more in tune with myself. So last week, I'm struggling a little bit. I knew I wasn't feeling great, but I wasn't feeling bad. So what I did was I just kind of, leaned into it. Just kind of, let myself feel whatever feelings I was feeling. If I needed to lay down, I laid down. If I needed to cry, I cried. I did whatever I needed to do to release these emotions. And then all of a sudden, I was sitting in front of the TV and I had my headphones on and I was just like listening to a song. And I got to tell you, I felt like this huge relief. It was huge. It's just all this stuff lifted off of me. And all of a sudden, I felt clarity. I felt clarity. And I haven't felt clarity from my life, maybe ever. I don't know if I've ever truly been in control, full control of my whole life. So I just wanted to share that with you because I know if you're going through your journey and you might be feeling a little bit lonely, maybe you're thinking you're really depressed or that you're not going to get better, because sometimes you'll make 3 steps forward, 2 steps back kind of thing. It's a give and take. But I got to tell you, if you keep going and create that connection, that spiritual connection right with source, and begin to quiet your mind, you will hear the things he's saying to you, and you will begin to see so many things, so many messages that he sends you. And I feel like for myself, and I don't know if this is different for everyone, because honestly, I haven't talked to a lot of people about their spiritual awakening, but I feel like for myself, I feel like source will send me messages through nature. I see animals that I've never seen in my life before. And I realize I'm in Thailand. There's a lot of exotic animals here. But even when we lived here before, I didn't see nearly what I'm seeing now. And they show up at just when I need them to. Might be feeling a little bit down. I'll go outside and dragonfly will start flying around. You know, um, I'll sit out back. Next thing you know, there's this beautiful caterpillar. You know, caterpillars go through metamorphosis, and so do dragonflies. And then, and then there's this lizard that lives in the back, and this might seem a little bit silly, but I got to tell you, I'm building this relationship with nature, and I'm loving it, and I'm starting to notice. I stop now. Whenever I see something, I feel like it's a little message from God, and I'm like, thank you for that. I needed that. I appreciate that, and and I've stopped to take note of little things and be grateful for them. And lately, every time I walk down to 7-Eleven, I seem to find money. And it's not a lot. Like one day I found a 1 baht, and then the other day, as soon as I walked out of 7-Eleven, right on the ground, there was I think it's called a 25 baht. It's like half of a 1 baht. I'm not sure. So I found that, stuck it in my pocket. And then a couple months ago, Boyd and I were walking down to 7-Eleven, and I found like 20 baht, which was kind of cool. So I feel like, you know, I'm getting these little messages and I'm loving it. It's changing my life. And, with all this clarity that I'm feeling, I've noticed that I don't react. I don't react like I used to. I got a text the other day, and normally when I get a text from, you know, certain people in my life, it tends to, make my body kind of tighten up. It makes me a little anxious and I feel a little bit, I don't know, like I did when I was a child. So I got this text and there was no emotion. There was no emotion. There was no anxiety. There was no fear. There was nothing. And let me tell you, that was awesome. Like I didn't even react. And that's the thing. I want to talk to you about this because I read this the other day. The more we react to something, it creates what's called a quantum entanglement. I thought this was very interesting. I want to read to you. This is just kind of a brief definition of what a quantum entanglement is. Maybe you'll want to look it up and find out more about it. But a quantum entanglement is a phenomenon where two particles become linked in such a way that they share the same fate, even when separated by vast distance. Now this is science here, but this can also happen with our emotions. So when we start to react to things, yeah, we become entangled with those reactions. We send those reactions out into the universe and they're going to come back to us. They're going to come back to us because that's what happens. When you put stuff out there, whatever you're putting out, negative or positive's coming right back. And I am finding this so true in my life. So I just wanted to share that with you. I wanted to encourage you. If you're going through this spiritual awakening, you're going to love it. You're going to get to a point where you're like, wow, everything, all of that was worth it because I am finally the authentic person I need to be. And you know what? We're always evolving and growing. So am I done? No, I'm not done. I'm not done. But I got to tell you, I am 80% better than I have been my entire life. And I'm thankful. So I hope you enjoyed that story. Have a great day. See you next time.